Hello, ladies and gents, and happy Monday as we start this week of English 101. Guys, we are so close to being done. Look, today is the 8th. We just have next week. We got to make it through this week. We got to make it through next week. And then you're done. You've done it. Hooray! So hang in there for just a little while longer, guys. I know this final push toward the end feels interminable. Like we're never going to make it, and the road just keeps stretching out ahead of us. But you are so close to being done. So, so very close. I know the world is going crazy now, and sometimes schoolwork just doesn't feel very high up on the priority chain, and I absolutely understand that. But I also just want to encourage you that you are so close to being done. So let's finish strong. There's still some big points available if you're looking at your grades, because I've gotten caught up. Hooray. So your essays are graded, your discussions are graded, you've got a really good look at how your score stands right now. So if you don't like how your score stands, there are still points on the table. So we want to make sure that we're investing, we're working hard if you want to get those points to improve your scores. So if we take a look at our calendar for today, we've got some PowerPoints we're going to be viewing to help prepare us for our Project 3 essay, which is, of course, the last big essay we have to do in this class. Huzzah! So we are looking at culture, bias, and justice today in the PowerPoint. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at cultural analysis as a style of academic writing. And then we're going to take a look at our Project 3 prompt and our case list. There's a recorded lecture that walks you through the prompt and the case list, as well as outlines and thesis statements and all that good stuff. Then we're going to be starting work on an annotated bibliography, which is basically a journal of research. So what an annotated bibliography does is it just says, here are the sources I plan on using in the essay, here's what they say, here's why they're good, and here's how I might incorporate them in this project. So just 3 things you have to do there. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And you'll be working on your thesis worksheets and then start working on your outlines as we move ahead, because our peer review is happening next week. And then our Project 3 is due next week because the quarter ends, right? So stay on top of things. If you've got questions, reach out. There are some big points associated with the annotated bib and the cultural analysis. And I want us all to finish strong. So if you need help, reach out. Let me know what I can do to help you. Before you reach out, do make sure that you've reviewed all of the helpful instructional materials in the modules. They're there because they're things people have needed help with in the past. And so if you're struggling with it, chances are, because I've been teaching for, oh golly, 10 years now. That's a long time. So I've had a bunch of questions about everything, right? So I've tried to talk about the things that often come up in the questions in our videos. So it's really worth taking the time to watch the videos, get some orientation. So our recorded lecture that you're going to be viewing today, Culture, Bias, and Justice, is a 2-parter because it's a big topic, guys, particularly now. Unless you've been living under a rock somehow with no internet for the last couple weeks, you probably know that our country is experiencing a huge upheaval. 2020 has been a challenging year for everybody so far, starting with some international incidents, moving through wildfires in Australia, we got murder hornets, we have a pandemic we're going through, and now we're trying to come to terms with what we want America to look like in terms of equality, in terms of justice, in terms of race relations. There's a lot of big, really difficult topics that we're all wrestling with right now. And so this essay was actually designed 2 years ago. So wrestling with culture is not a new thing, right? We've been doing it since the dawn of time. But I do encourage you to view the recorded lectures here on culture, bias, and justice as it relates specifically to this essay. The cases that are being primarily protested right now are not on your case list simply because they're too new, right? Most of them are too new, so we don't have information in terms of how the judicial process went, what the outcomes of the trials were, all of that stuff. So you won't see the cases that are being discussed in the protests so much in our case list here. You'll see some older cases. So view the recorded lecture on culture, bias, and justice, and then your case lists are available for you here. Most of these cases happens 5 years ago, around that zone, or earlier, just so that we've got all of the documentation we need in order to write a good research essay. So check those out. Lots of good stuff here. If you need a little cheer up after viewing everything and dealing with some weighting materials, there's a great song that Saturday Night Live did that sings about unity, and even though we can't agree on some big things, there are some little things that bring us together as a human race, like how we hate when people scroll too far in our pictures on our phone, or how people hate the word moist. You know, so it's a really funny song if you need a little pick-me-up to give you a smile after we deal with some difficult topics. Our videos talking about our case list and our outline and our prompt are here as well. Once again, this is a two-parter because it's a big topic we're trying to cover, right? Lots of information. So please make sure to check that out in its entirety before you start writing your outline and your thesis worksheet. And then annotated bibliography. Here is a helpful link on how to find sources for Project 3 and your annotated bibliography. Because sometimes it's difficult to find what you need on the CBC library databases. And so I've got a recorded lecture here that will walk you through that process. So do make sure to check that out. The annotated bibliography is a big project, and it's not something you want to wait for the last minute. In fact, I would highly encourage you to watch the prompt, case list, and outline, then do your annotated bibliography, and then write your essay. Does that make sense? You want to have your research because you want your research to be able to lead you to your conclusions, as opposed to picking a conclusion and then forcing the research to match it. We want to be led by data, right? So you want to have your research compiled and then create a conclusion, an argument, a thesis, all that good stuff based around the evidence that you've found. So that's another reason why annotated bibliographies are so important. So all of that great stuff available for you here in the Modules tab. Also, as you get your essays back for Project 1 and Project 2, we struggled a bit sometimes with our MLA format. So once again, I just want to call our attention to the sample MLA formatted paper, your Night Site citation generator, and your works cited pages. Those citations do need to be in MLA format. You're also going to need to have MLA format in your annotated bibliography citations. So Night Site will be your best friend for that. If you're using the CBC library databases, it actually cites the stuff for you there. I've shown you how to find those citations in your videos on the annotated bibliography. So do check that out. And then I've got some style guides for MLA works cited pages, as well as in-text citations. So do make sure to check those out if in your essays you got any notes about citation format, works cited format, or MLA style. I've also got some really helpful stuff on grammar. If you had notes in your essay about comma splices or run-on sentences, some resources for you here. Once again, if you're having a hard time finding resources for this essay, there is a fabulous live chat feature that our CBC library provides that you can reach out to a librarian via IM or email or phone to get some help finding your research. So do make sure to reach out. They're there to help. And they're fabulous, intelligent folks. So use your resources wisely, use them well. You've got a lot of people who want to help you as you navigate through English 101. So everything you need listed for you here. Check it all out. And reach out with any questions. Stay safe, guys. Stay healthy. Be kind to one another. And I'll look forward to reading your writing.